Okay, we're singing and dancing. It's Friday night.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday days!
Hey, get the crow out of here.
Oh, crows are good luck.
They are good luck. They are very good luck. So, as always, we'll leave our sponsor panel up because we love our sponsors. And want to remind you of a few things because maybe you're not looking at the sponsor panel and maybe you're, who knows. So if you're in Southwest Florida, which we are, and you're looking for that good New York deli sandwich, that'd be Jason's Deli.
Yeah.
Naples, they're all over the place. Cape Coral, two locations here in Fort Myers. And of course, if you're in need of diamonds or watches, you go over to Bradley's Jewelers right on South 41.
Other kinds of gemstones also.
Yeah, they got all kinds. They got, and I have been forgetting to ask Brad about in the commercial. It looks to me like those are black opals, like John's Spider, but yeah. I don't know. So we'll have to ask him on Monday when we do Secrets and Symbols of Rock and Roll.
Yeah, I like that show. I learn something every Monday.
Which is good, and that's because you have a lot of free hard drive space.
Yeah, but it's not like watching, a boring documentary. It's not like the school films that would put you to sleep,
Okay. Yeah, no, it's not like that. All right, so anyway, and don't forget, guys, if you are in Southwest Florida and you're in need of a house call vet, that would be Dr. Donna Cackline. Dogs and cats only.
The best vet
but
around.
She's as good as it gets. And who's out by our driveway with their flashers on?
I would not know that.
I would not know that either. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. We've got screens everywhere. And here's Johnny. Man,
now you made me lose track of who I'm saying hello to.
Who are you saying hello to?
We don't have Frank in the room yet.
Frank? No.
Frank Feeney, because that's the birthday boy for tonight.
That's the birthday boy for tonight, old Frank Feeney.
Frank Feeney, so happy birthday, Frank. When you come in, we'll sing.
Frankie, birthday boy. It doesn't look to me like we have connected to LinkedIn, so I'm going to turn that off. But this is cool. I mean, we're streaming all over the place. Streaming like crazy. We are streaming like crazy.
Oh, he's in there.
Frank Feeney?
Well, they're all saying hi, Frank. Let me see.
Is that the Frank Feeney, though? I mean, it's got to be the Frank Feeney. Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he's in there and I just didn't see him come out. Oh, he's in there.
He snuck in. Oh, happy birthday.
Remy, come here, Remy.
Oh, yeah, Rem, come on. We got to sing.
Come on.
Yeah.
Remy.
Oh, goodness. Who's here already?
Oh, thank you, Michael.
Lenny
stars?
Oh, Michael. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Remy.
Where's the singing dog? I don't know.
Remy.
Oh, wow. We're getting everybody's
Come here,
coming in.
Oh, good boy. Ready?
Hey, Jimmy, there you are.
Okay.
Oh, wait. We must sing. We have a friend who's having a birthday.
That's right.
So come on, sing now.
His name is Frank.
Frank. So remember that, Remy. Happy birthday, dear Frank.
Happy birthday to you.
Oh,
to you. Happy birthday, dear Frank. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Frank.
Happy birthday, Frank. So, I hear Lenny and the crickets. How are you, bud?
The frogs.
Oh, yeah, you hearing them?
That's okay. I like them.
I like them too.
Okay, am I the only one here so far?
Well, I'm here.
I'm here.
So maybe,
Okay.
you are.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, I gotta tell you, Lenny, I love how you pulled off your Halloween costume.
We were laughing about that
when you did that beer thing, I was like so
great. Great.
The pressure was on.
You know what? You are very quick.
Yeah, you responded under pressure, and it was really good. And I have something interesting. Is Jeff Seitz watching, or is he?
No, he's in L.A.
Do you remember when Jeff was on and the lady screamed at him, "Stop whatever you're doing"? Did you see that part on the Halloween show?
I don't think Lenny was in yet.
You don't think he was in yet?
Who screamed at him?
Well, it was his wife
Manager.
who was a stage
yeah,
manager.
I remember that.
That was his wife. His wife
What the hell
is
was
stage
that about?
Well, we don't know,
Well,
but
she's
he
very
definitely did.
professional, and you know, I don't know what but we were laughing. We said, "Hey, tell that." There he is.
Hey, Angus.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Oh,
Angus.
it was funny. It was funny.
Yeah, that was strange. I thought she was a stage manager. She was acting exactly like a stage manager.
Yes.
Stop that.
So she is. It was, but you know, I mean, obviously a very nice girl, but incredibly professional, which we all applaud, don't we? I mean, that's
Maybe.
Listen, when my wife screams at me and says, "Stop doing that," it's usually, you know, I gotta stop. Whatever it is, I stop.
You know
Well,
what? I don't think I've ever said that in public.
Well, she didn't think she was saying it in public either, in fairness to her.
Oh, man.
She probably thought
I
Jeff
would've
was
said,
like,
"Can I see you for a second? Get off the fucking phone."
well, yeah, subtlety was never one of your strong points.
Right, but I would have
So-
made sure nobody heard me being a bitch.
Well, you see, that's nice to say.
Oh, I didn't mean that she was. Oh, God.
Well, you just can't.
Next subject.
How's that foot taste? So, Lenny, did you by any chance see the show last night, or were you out with friends? And
I'm afraid I didn't. Who was on?
Kevin, John, Simon. Now, first of all, somebody with 3 first names, always a red flag. But this guy was incredible. He runs the Mitch Mitchell fan club. You know, Jimi Hendrix drummer Mitch Mitchell, and he was telling me all these facts. And you know, Mitch was an early influence on me. And by the end of the show, I was like, not sad, but it was like, man. Poor Mitch he never got the credit that he deserved. You know, it was never on the cover of Modern Drummer until he died, and you know, it was just weird.
I don't really get that. I don't really get that because between him and Hendrix, that was sort of the band.
No, that was the band. I have played with Noel Redding, and trust me, Hendrix and Mitchell were the band.
Noel Redding got a pretty good deal, I think, because he wasn't a bass player, he was a guitar player.
Right, exactly.
He played bass for Hendrix, and then did you ever see Fat Mattress?
I did. I don't know that I saw them live, but I heard the music, and it sounded
I was at the Fillmore. They were playing. Jimmy came out and introduced him, you know, one of these good friend, the Fat Mattress. And they came out and they opened up with a Paul, like a Simon and Garfunkel song. When she goes, she's gone. When she stays here.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Who calls themselves Fat Mattress? I mean, come on.
Fat Mattress.
It must be an English thing for, you know, I don't know what it is, but you know, when I didn't play with Noel, you know, we just jammed a couple of times in the city, but just like an incredibly kind of bitter dude. I mean, not, you know, and I heard that he got that gig with Hendrix because of his afro.
Well, when I first saw them with the Monkees, they were opening up for the Monkees.
Yeah.
When he came out, he had a giant afro. It was like this big.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, but he was let go. I mean, they let him go, and Hendrix always wanted Billy Cox on bass, but because Chaz Chandler was going for, you know, the 2 white English guys with the black star, you know, it was too perfect to pass up, and I don't think it would have been visually as impactful if Billy Cox was in the band. So, you know, and eventually,
I guess so. Hi, Booker.
Hey, Booker.
Sonically, Billy was the dude, though.
And Hendrix said that, "You're my bass player, and if I ever make it, you're my bass player."
Yeah.
But check this out. You know the guy on YouTube that does What Makes This Song Great?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kinda.
Is like he got gray hair. He's a real good musician, guitar player, keyboard player. He did, I think, the best 20 drum intros, in rock and roll. He didn't mention Mitch Mitchell.
How could that be? I mean, Up from the Skies, but and the guy last night, Kevin, played all that stuff, and he knew everything about Mitch's kits, the 67 kit, the 68 kit, the 69 kit, the black kit. I found this incredibly interesting. And now I'm going to screw it up. It was either Ludwig or Gretsch came out with a finish called Pink Oyster. Right now, you remember the black oyster pearl and the blue oyster pearl from back in the day. They came out with Pink Oyster, and they made 100 of these kits, right? But they didn't sell one because I guess it was the wrong time, and they recovered them all in black, like black whatever it was. No, I don't know. I'll have to ask the guy again. And that was what Noel played. When you see him playing the black kit, that's really a Pink Oyster kit that was recovered by, I'm thinking maybe it was Ludwig, but just, the crazy stuff. And he used all Rogers hardware because Rogers was the first one to come out with heavy duty hardware instead of the little things that,
Yeah.
So, it was cool. And he went.
I don't live today.
Yes, you do.
Oh man, how's that for a drum intro?
Oh man, I mean, he was. You listen to the stuff that he did in Voodoo Child, Slight Return, and three records. Those first three records, Experienced, Axis, and Electric Ladyland, some of the most complete and innovative drumming I've ever heard, and absolutely one of my biggest influences was Mitch. I mean, and Booker, what we were talking about, I had a guy on last night who runs the Mitch Mitchell fan club, and he just had such amazing information about Mitch, and I never really realized how overlooked Mitch was in the business. It was like, it was sad, I guess. I mean, even though this is the No Gloom Ballroom, it was very sad. And but I got to ask him stuff about Mitch's sticks, and he started off playing like 7/8s, which are, he was a jazz drummer.
Yeah,
right.
And then wound up with 2Bs, which is that's quite a change over the years. But just amazing stuff. The guy was he was just a wealth of knowledge.
Hey, Mousy.
Mousy!
Mousy.
Where's Mousy?
What's up? How are you?
Hey, Mousy.
Hi, Lenny. How are you?
Hi. I'm doing really good.
Good.
Yeah, Angus, you flying around? What's the deal? You doing stunts?
Yeah.
Wire.
I found your pink drum set.
You did?
Yeah,
Pink Oyster?
Wow.
Pink Oyster. That's what it says, Pink Oyster. But it says Ludwig.
Well, okay, so Ludwig it was, yeah, and they recovered it with, I think they called it Black Panther. And, 69, that would be about appropriate. But
it's a clear drum set? It's clear?
We can't do that, Lenny. It's a pink hand, just doesn't make it.
Yes, that's not happening.
Go ahead, you do it, Booker.
Yeah.
And I don't do that.
Oh, Booker,
Well,
don't
if you
play
did
that.
do it, could you show us what it would look like?
It would look like that.
There it
There you
is,
go.
man.
Yeah, you're right. What if I did it with both hands?
It's just like two big pink roses.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, so it was.
So funny
It was
because you said Black Panther, and I was going to come in with Wakanda as my back.
Wakanda forever. Yeah.
Right.
I
Is that
did.
it?
Oh my God, no, that ain't it.
No, that's not it. That's pink
That's
Vistalite.
That's Vista Lights.
Yeah, that's Vistalite. No, it was you. I don't think you could find a picture of it, Angus, because they made 100 of these sets. It's called Pink Oyster or Pink Oyster Pearl, and it would have been from the '60s. But the guy had one of Mitch's sets, and it was just really It was incredible for me. Probably bored the crap out of everybody else. I know Lori, dinner was on time last night because she said, screw this. But I was just, I mean, it was just so cool. And Angus, are we having, Aisha, are we having her on the show?
He's supposed to let me know. He's supposed to let me know last night. I haven't heard from him yet, but I'm going to talk to him in a little bit.
That's Mitch's daughter.
Wow.
Yeah, Aisha
really?
Mitchell. Yeah, so I mean, I could get to geek out a little bit, but yeah. So well, we'll see. But that's a horrible looking set, Angus. Thank you for that.
Okay, you got it.
And totally
It's just
wrong.
missing the goldfish swimming inside.
Yeah,
Oh
no.
yeah, well, yeah. There's that. So yeah,
I'm gonna put my flying video back up there again.
get back in the. Oh,
Get out there,
I
Top Gun.
see you're on the runway.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh,
Yeah, he's going backwards.
I see.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's in the jump seat on the limo. Perfect. That's what we need. That's what we need. Well, it takes you a long time to get off the ground, huh, Angus?
Yeah. No, I'll get there.
Okay. Guys, I was talking to John's son, Chris Entwistle, the other day, and he told me a drummer joke that I've never heard. What's the difference between a savings bond and a drummer?
Wow.
I don't know what.
The savings bond will mature and make money.
Go for any musician.
Right. But it was, and let's good talking to you, Chris. Thanks. Yeah, all good, all good things, and it was so. Anyway,
I got a joke. I got another joke.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Oh,
All right. There's this real handsome guy, good looking guy, and he gets into a car accident. Okay. And the doctors, they save his life, but he loses an eye. All right. So they got to give him a wooden eye until he gets fitted for a glass eye. So they send him home, and they said the glass eye will look just like his other eye and everything. They send him home, and he's all mopey and depressed. I mean, because he's got this wooden eye in his head, and you can really see it. So his friends come over one night, and they say, "Look, we're going to take you out to the bar with us. You can't just sit around moping all the time." So they're in the bar, and his friend comes over. He says, "Look, there's a good-looking girl sitting over there by herself. Doesn't look like she's with anybody. Why don't you go ask her to dance?" And he goes, "No, I'm not doing it. I got this wooden eye. Forget it. I can't even look at her." So his other friend says, "Well, over there's another girl. Looks like she's by herself. She's got a really big nose, just a really big. Look at that thing on her." And he goes, "Well, you know what? Okay, all right. Let me give it a try." So he walks over and he says, "Would you like to dance?" And she got so excited, she jumped up and she went, "Would I? Would I?" And he went, "Big nose, big nose."
Hey, Angus, that was okay.
yeah, that was all right. And we needed. Thank you. He's here all week.
Vader was in and out.
Yeah, he said hello and then ran. But you know how that is, man. I had so much fun. I don't know if you saw the. Fader asked me last week if anybody had ever interviewed me, and Angus and I tried it once in the very beginning of the show, and it was like, it was okay, but it was just weird. And he did it for our 200th guest, was Tuesday, and I was going to throw my wife under the bus, and she said, "You know what? I'll drive the bus over your face."
That's never a good idea, Steve.
No, never a good idea. Well, she's
Come
not,
on.
no, one ham in the family is good enough unless it's Thanksgiving. And so I said, "All right, you know what?" And Fader said, "Has anybody interviewed you?" And I said, "Well, no, it's not really an interview, but no, we never have." And it was fun, man. I mean, I really enjoyed it. Oh, here he comes. So it was.
Go.
Oh, come in.
Avon calling.
You really?
Yeah.
Avon calling.
So does everybody know that we're on YouTube now?
I heard, yes.
I saw
I did hear.
And stuff. Hey, Fader.
Hello, Fader.
Hey, Fader.
Guys, how you doing? Merry Christmas.
All good. Merry
That's
Christmas.
right.
Mary's not here yet.
They don't
Hey,
even talk
Steve,
Thanksgiving.
can I ask, just like take my own little survey of everyone here?
Please.
You could be the facilitator of the question though.
Without question.
Okay, so I was having a discussion with another person the other day who is in the music business, and we were talking about the legends that are still among us. And the question came about of, look, you know, and I know, as everyone knows, you'll see certain people and you just go, not as good as we expected it to be, because time has passed and voices change and people's ability changes. So does anyone here think, the question was, should people just stop after a while because now you can't hit the notes? Or is it more important to just bring that thing to the people, whether it's as perfect as it used to be or as good as it used to be? Because taking into consideration that now to go see someone where I found some old tickets from the Fillmore the other day where it was like $350, $450, and $550 for the good seats.
Yeah.
And now, to go see Genesis is the crappy seats were like starting at $300.
I know, it's crazy.
Wow.
So yeah, starting like nosebleed seats. So I'm like, how does everybody feel about that? Because
Booker, Booker, go ahead, take it.
There are two people that I can name that are getting up in age, and I would go see any day of the week. Stevie Wonder.
Yeah,
and
Stevie, of course.
And Billy Joel.
Absolutely.
Still great. But Billy moved his stuff down, I think, a half step.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tenor, being the age that he is now, he's way past tenor prime. And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Stevie is still everything in the original key, which is
frightening. Yeah, he's just Stevie's my Jesus. I just want everyone to know that.
Guys like Mick Jagger who run up and down the stage, he's still running up and down the stage.
Yeah.
He never had a great voice.
No, exactly. I was going to say, I don't know whoever said to him, you should be a lead singer. But he does what he does. But how about like Paul McCartney?
You know what? There are reports of him having bad performances, but everybody has a bad day. Everybody's allowed one bad day.
Right.
And it seems like when he had a bad day on a televised thing and everybody jumped all over it and says he should quit. And I'm like going, no. There's too many other things that he does really well.
That's the question. So, do you have the Beatle still play the Beatles songs and just go, oh my God, it's a Beatle playing Beatles songs?
It's still the voice that sang those songs and played those songs. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear some facsimile of it. It's like, but I would listen to him until he falls into the grave.
Right. That's why I said he's a legend.
Yeah.
Then on the other hand, there's some people that I think, look, it got to the point where Robert Plant just said, you know what, I'm not going to do this because I can't do it like I used to.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do it anymore because, or Jeff will tell you just, Jeff, do you think we were talking about people, and Jeff and I have actually had this discussion about Macaw, that, his voice is not what it used to be. And but it's that magic that people look. My niece will go see the Dead and Company because she never got to see the Grateful Dead, and literally there's like nobody left in the Dead at this point. But she wants the magic of that Dead show where we're all twirling and seeing colors and whatever. So to her, it's as good as gold as far as she's concerned.
Okay, well I'll wait. First of all, if Billy Joel, let me speak to Booker's thing and then we'll go around the horn. If Billy Joel, because I know he's playing a real piano, if he's transposing all that shit a half a step down, that blows my mind, just that alone. Because the guy, the stuff that he plays, I mean, anybody that plays a piano, think about it, what a half step down means to the fingering. That's frickin' incredible. And you know, and I see him, you know, because I have friends in that band and I have the guys on the show, and I think it's amazing what he does. To answer,
they're probably tuning the piano a half step down too.
Really?
Which is
Can
still
you do that
okay.
with an acoustic
Which is still
piano?
okay.
You can do that.
Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't do it to
then.
A440. You do it to A420 or
Yeah. All right. Well, either way, or you cut a hole in it and put a frickin' 88 key synthesizer in there.
That
weighted
can transpose.
keyboard.
But what about his entire band then? Has to transpose the key, right?
Well, you know, but that's not that.
Yeah, but that's easier than a
Yeah.
keyboard.
That's
You know,
not that.
and, but either way, it's impressive and absolutely cool. Now, what I think about it,
The only
What I
people that really have to transpose though would be the horns. Everybody else can tune down.
Right. Yeah.
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 I-
Well,
Jeff.
I prefer to play it half a step down and stay where I am standard tuned.
but I think it really depends on whether you're doing the music justice, because I would not want to get together with or for me, I'd rather leave the mystique alone and never play with those guys again than have it compromised and have the memories be like, yeah, I saw them, they weren't that good. I've been hearing about them for 40 years and I finally saw them. It was like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and when I did the Rat Race reunion in 2017, I was real concerned about that. I was wondering whether we were going to summon that fury that we had in the 70s, not even when we reunited with the Good Rats in 97, but I was wondering whether we were going to be able to bring it or not. And I certainly wouldn't do it again. I don't blame Robert Plant for not wanting to go out with Led Zeppelin. I saw Led Zeppelin during the Song Remains the Same filming at Madison Square Garden. I also saw them. Yeah, oh yeah. I saw them at Atlantic's 40th with Jason playing drums, and it was Led Zeppelin, but it wasn't Led Zeppelin. So, kind of hard to say no to a big ticket, but it could it really depends. If you believe that you're still pulling it off and you want to share it with people, go for it. I don't believe in replacing guys. But then again, it's kind of like the Police without Stuart Copeland. Ooh, Jeff, that's your cue.
Well, like
Jeff's popping in and out.
I just wanted to say goodbye, hi to everybody. I'm on a plane and I'm about to close the doors.
Oh, okay. Well,
Take
don't
care,
hit
Jeff.
anybody in the face. Don't hit anybody.
No mask shaming.
You know, I just want to say something about Robert Plant. I saw him 3 years ago with his new band, and I thought it was one of the best performances I've ever seen him do. So if he's feeling like he's losing something, I'm really surprised, because he was just that good that night. It was incredible.
But that's not him singing a whole lot of love.
He did a few Zeppelin songs and he kicked ass.
Well, then, I
Not
guess
all Zeppelin though.
Case by case.
Though, just like guys like LeBron, who is the age he is now, have to change his game a little bit to survive in the NBA, and how Tom Brady has to use his head a little bit more, and guys that used to be fireballers in baseball are now throwing pitches with movement. You have to evolve a little bit too. And musicians, we've been forever, so I don't mind somebody coming out there and being different if they're good.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. If you're pulling it off, yes, the boy with the yellow shirt.
I remember seeing Robert Plant. It was a video, but it was the band with the two really good guitarists.
Band of Joy.
Fader, could you help me on this one?
I don't know who was playing guitar for him the night I saw him, but he was a very unique style, and it was just unbelievable. But I think you're referring to. Are you referring to his old band right after Led Zeppelin?
I probably.
The
He
Robert
had two
Plant
guys
band?
who were playing guitar.
Yeah,
and
I don't know their
they
names.
were
They're great. Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, me either. But the band was so good, and these two guitarists were so good. He didn't have to hit all. He was playing very cool music.
Right, right.
He was fine.
But I want to say this though. You were talking before about the $300 ticket, the $600 ticket. I've got a big problem with that. I will not pay that kind of money to go see anybody that I love. It's just ridiculous. I understand this is the way they're making money these days. They're not selling records anymore and this and that. But I mean, by the time you take, your family to see a concert, it's costing you $2,500.
Yeah. Right.
I'm happy to say that I connected with a new booking agent today for some of the stuff that I'm doing, and he does a lot of tribute acts. And so I told him this joke. The guy said, I was going to have a Molly Hatchet tribute band at my party, but I found out I could get Molly Hatchet cheaper.
Yeah.
Sad but true.
Okay. Let me throw a name out. Tell me, should this guy keep going or maybe think about retiring? Vince Neil.
I think he had a bad night. That one video that everyone saw. You know what?
He fell off the stage?
No, remember the night when he said, "I can't sing anymore," and he walked off? Did you see
Yeah,
that?
it was another bad
Let me
night.
be really honest about how I feel. He never could sing.
Right. He does what he does. But what I'm saying,
Yeah.
what I'm saying is this. I can never see myself not singing or playing my music ever, unless I'm physically, disabled, God forbid, or something like that. I can never see myself stopping ever. I don't care how old I am.
I agree with that 100%. The problem is, if you're from something iconic, right? I mean, if you've left a real footprint in the sand or a real, fossil, do you risk tainting the memory of that? You know what I mean? No one's going to see Leonard Skinner again, the way they were. Do you keep going out and I think it's down to the audience too. Are you feeling the authenticity? With regard to McCartney, I love Paul McCartney, and I don't know if George and John were alive, if those guys, if it would still be the Beatles, if you know what I mean. I don't know if it would still be that. I don't know. It's a hard one.
I love him too, and I've seen him, and he's great. And if he had a bad night, God bless him. We've all had nights where we have for whatever reason, maybe we're having an instrument failure, an amplifier failure, something in the room, a bad vibe is throwing us off. We're missing a note here or there. It happens. Big deal.
Yeah, but a bad night to you. I mean, I remember certainly back in the day playing the Long Island circuit, where I thought this was the worst night I've ever had, or that we've ever had, because it's not usually everybody. It's one guy, and it spreads. And then I've had people come up to me at the end of that show and say, "Man, that was the most incredible thing I have ever seen."
Yeah, I've had that
so
too.
Is it the 1% that I expect from myself that was missing? Or, you know what I mean? And the other thing, we used to always say in Rat Race, it's not the mistakes that you don't make, it's the mistakes that they don't see.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the sign of real chemistry, of real a band that transcends any individual. Because when somebody hits a bad note and you get this, let's hold up a sign. You know what I mean?
By the way, the other night when we were talking, I forgot to bring up something about that night at the Rat Race show, which deserves a mention. When you sang the Zeppelin, bro, it was amazing. It was amazing. You were in the moment.
Well, I was, and I'm going to tell you something. Thank you for that. I trained like an athlete for that show. I trained for 2 months, like I was training for the Super Bowl. And I'm in pretty good shape. You know, I mean, I've always worked out. I exercise most days, and I stretch every day. But I put in the hours. I mean, I put in 2 months of at least 2 hours a day playing, singing, because you can't just go back and do that. But thank you for that. I appreciate it. And I don't think I would have done it if I felt I was compromising that, because you don't want, especially with the Rat Race. It's different if you're Led Zeppelin or if you're the Stones. But Rat Race was its own little microcosm, and there's 2 kinds of people: the people that saw it and the people that never will. And I wouldn't want to go out there and not do at least as well as I always did. You know, that's so.
It was great. It was great though. And by the way, you do look a little taller to me. I can tell you've been stretching.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I've been stretching, trying to get back to 6'4".
No.
So let's go. I mean, Jeff, do you get to comment on what we're talking about?
Yeah, and why is he still on the ground?
Yeah, because somebody punched out the stewardess.
Jeff's not here. Oh, there he is.
No, I can't.
Okay, all right, don't worry about it. So then, Angus, let's go to you, pal. What?
Just to go back for a second about the thing with Billy Joel tuning a half a step lower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what I did was I went and I found the video from Fenway Park 2021, just a few months ago.
Yeah.
And they're tuning a half a step lower.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And was Mark Rivera wearing my shirt?
I didn't see Mark. I didn't see Mark in there. I only listened to a little bit of it, and then I played my bass along with him. I said, "Oh yes, I have a step lower."
No, he said he sent me a picture from Fenway. I didn't know which one he was wearing. That's yeah. And let me tell you what, it does my heart good to know that I'm at Madison Square Garden in one way or another on a monthly basis.
You know, a guy who's in his 60s who can still sing amazing, and his band is as good as they've ever been is Steel Pulse. I don't know if you've ever.
Oh
seen
yeah,
him. Dave.
Yeah, those guys are. I mean, the band is ridiculous.
The band, but his voice is still ridiculous.
His band is David Hines.
Yep, David Hines.
Yeah. They're ridiculous.
And this is a guy getting up there in age, but let me tell you something. He is as good as he's ever been. I've been following that band since 19 years old.
Yeah, he's another one that can sing everything that he did in the original key. And he has a great voice. I absolutely agree with that.
And for me, I'll say this, Leslie West, I played with Leslie for years, and I loved his stuff. I loved what he did. And I loved his voice as much as I loved his tone. And he could still bring that up, he lose a leg or whatever. He's still there doing it. But then there's other guys that, I guess it's a case-by-case basis, you know what I mean? Should Lou Gramm still be singing with Foreigner? Should Steve Perry still be singing with Journey? I don't think so.
Yeah. And though, you can go to other singers singers that are individual. Like Aretha Franklin wasn't hitting her high notes in her prime 20 some odd years ago. She was no longer hitting those notes. But if you went and saw her live, your jaw was on the floor all the time.
I saw her live.
It's just about the mystique and the magic of what that is. And then again, to your point, Steve, it probably, it's also about, look, you could always change your guitar sound, tune a piano, whatever. The pipes are the pipes. You either have them or you don't. So when I was pregnant with my first son. So it was like 38 years ago. I was on tour with Al Jarreau. And of course, The Voice. Okay. And he's the one who said to me, every time his percussionist hit the conga drum, the baby was kicking in my stomach. And he came over and he said to me,
"Oh, you're probably having a drummer." And I said, "Over my dead body." And of course, as you know, he did go on. 18 years later, like I said, here he is, all-state drummer. But I finally got to take my son out to see, and he always loved Al Jarreau. Even as a little kid, he listened to the tapes and whatever. And I finally got to take him to see Al right before Al passed. It was in February, a couple of years ago. And he didn't have what he had. But honest to God, my son was just like, "Oh my God, it's Al Jarreau." Like, it didn't make one bit of difference. And my kid's got a great ear.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it's just the magic of that whole thing. And then, of course, Al had to bust my balls and say, "Hey, you got the drummer, didn't you?"
Well, look at it this way. Because we were having, I forget when we had the discussion, the Queen discussion. I mean, who replaces Freddie Mercury? It wasn't Paul Rogers. I mean, Paul Rogers, the voice.
Yeah.
But if anybody, and it isn't, as much as I like Adam Lambert and think that he's got all of the intrinsic values of that, I think the only guy who could have pulled it off long term or even come close was George Michael.
I truthfully think that it should have been more than one person to do Freddie Mercury, because
I think you're right.
I think he had that kind of crazy range in timbres as well as just
and styles that were
and that it took more than one person.
I agree. I'm just going to say this: when it comes to Freddie Mercury, I have never heard anyone come close to his voice. I think he is just probably one of the best singers, an anomaly. Adam Lambert, he's okay. I think he's too squeaky or whiny. It's not Freddie. And Freddie's voice is just brilliant.
Well, all right. So here's an interesting question. I mean, it's kind of rhetorical because I don't know that we can answer it. But I saw Queen open for Mott the Hoople at the Uris Theater in New York. And let me tell you what, I would not have wanted to be Mott the Hoople that night. It was the Marionette tour, and they had the frickin' Queen. I didn't even know what Queen was then. I mean, I had seen that album cover with the spotlight, but I didn't really know it. And man, they just were frickin' amazing. So, you gotta work. Yeah, people want to hear the songs. Yes. But I don't know. I mean, where do you draw the line? It's, that music should be heard. It's some of the greatest rock music in our life's catalog. So do you never play it again because Freddie's? I don't know. It's a tough one, Mouse. I mean, it's a great question.
You're never going to hear Rush again. You're never going to hear Rush again. You're never going to hear Led Zeppelin again.
Yeah.
Listen, by the way, we were talking about older guys that are they still worth doing? You know who was just sticking out in my head? I'm sorry to interrupt. Alice Cooper, man.
Yeah.
Right? He's still great.
Absolutely
Robin
still great.
Zander.
But Robin Zander, that guy, when we did the songs, when we had the Robin Zander band, we didn't tune down. That guy still hits every note. And I've never heard anybody warm up like that. He warms up by screaming. I mean, and it's unbelievable what he does. And he's our age, but then again, I ask yourself this. One of my all-time favorite singers in rock and roll was Jack Bruce. I loved his voice, and I played with Jack maybe 10 years, a little longer, before he passed. And that voice was still, he had everything. So if you're Robert Plant and you're squeaking it out, or you're Brian Johnson and you're just doing that, do you think, am I going to still be able to do this in 20 years? Whereas Jack is just singing down here and, is like Sinatra, although, I don't know, it's just, if you can do it, you should do it. And if you can't, you should recognize it. I guess.
Well, let me put it this way. Peabo Bryson is a chain smoker, right? and put down the cigarette and hit his highest note right after it. Some people are just those kind of freaks.
They
Agreed.
just are born to do it. They channel it from somewhere
Yeah.
else almost.
Yeah.
They're in another place. But here's a Jimi Hendrix quote that I always loved. So Jimmy was always very self-conscious of his voice, but I heard an interview where he had said, you know, if Bobby Dylan's going to get up and sing, I'm going to get up and sing.
Well, you know, I know that about Hendrix. I know that he hated his voice, and I actually I wrote a song for a solo album a bunch of years ago that was very Hendrixy, and I went out of my way to try to make that voice because I think it's so incredible and unique. And you know, it's weird how our insecurities of what we think we can't do are actually what brands us. And I'll tell you another band that's still doing it and never stopped doing it, and that's Zebra.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they're playing tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Night.
Well, they shouldn't be.
And Billy
No.
Joel.
I was going to say, how come
Well,
they get a
said
gig
Billy Joel,
tonight?
but you were making
Wait,
him.
and Cher is on her about 9th retirement tour, right?
What about Nile Rodgers? I mean, not, you know.
Nile is a beast of a player.
Oh, yeah.
What he does, you know, what he does really is the guitar player, the original guitar player in Kool and the Gang, Cletus X, was that type of rhythm guitar player. And that's really, if you listen to like the really old Kool and the Gang stuff, like Kool and the Gang by Kool and the Gang, you hear Nile. You say, that was Nile's inspiration. Because in the African American community, if you played guitar, you know what the question was? You played lead. Do you play lead or rhythm? That was the question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Rhythm
I loved
Kool as valuable as a lead guitar player.
I loved Kool and the Gang as a kid. Two of my favorite band. Well, I loved Parliament, Brothers Johnson. But Brothers Johnson was like a real, like I used to stay up and watch them on Don Kirshner when I was a kid. I mean, I just loved that band. But Kool and the Gang, I always loved. And ironically, when Van Halen played at the Garden in 2015, Kool and the Gang, I know it wasn't the full original band, but man, they were still amazing. They played.
That was
They
an
opened
amazing
for Van
lineup.
Halen.
The lineup was.
It was Kool and the Gang opening for Van Halen, and everyone was like, Kool and the Gang. But when they played, they had the whole place, man.
Yeah.
Because it's iconic and it's music and it's of an era and of a period, and that's what resonates with people.
And that's exactly what we were talking about. Those are the people. You know, I did a show with JT Taylor, oh my God, maybe 20 years ago. And he was a pain in the ass with his writers and his contract and his sound check and his brother, you know, with his manager and whatever. But I have to tell you, I wanted to kill myself. And the minute that mother started singing, I was like, that's the guy. That's the Jungle Boogie dude. That's what, you know, that's why people are here to do what, you know, and he just came out and poured his heart out. And it was like, I'm sure there are flaws in it, but you just get so caught up in the whole vibe of everything. And, you know, and I'm sure some like, you know, memory muscles of what it was in the past and what you were doing, as you were saying at the time when you were hearing this music, that all kind of, you know, mushes together and makes this brew of just, oh yeah, this is why we still do the live music thing. This is why we still love it.
Yeah.
So,
And there's guys like Gino Vanelli, who not only has an amazing band, but he's pretty amazing out front too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he had quite a voice.
Yeah.
Agreed. I mean, you know, agreed. I have to come back to Xander again with Cheap Trick. I mean, that's like the world's greatest opening act, right?
Yeah.
And the thing about them, and the thing about Robin was, I remember when we put the side band together. They're smart enough. Trick is smart enough not to burn themselves out, but they tour relentlessly. And Robin was about to turn 60, and he said, you know, would you like to put a band together? And we put it together with my guys, and we went out and did what we did. And he did it specifically to keep himself in shape. You can't, especially for me as a drummer, I can't get to that place, coming back to the rat race thing, unless I'm in it. You know what I mean? I'm not sweating and bleeding unless I'm in it. And it's hard to do that without your bandmates there. Luckily I had tapes, I put them on and I was able to drop in, but it's, it's to summon that fury. It takes some stuff. And Xander, man, I'll tell you what, he delivered every night we played, and we played a lot. So it's who you are, what your gift is, and how you deal with that gift. It's so.
I think eventually the audience is going to let you know.
Yeah,
that's true.
Or the lack of the audience.
The ones that are out there going,
yeah, right, one way or another.
You suck.
What about
you suck?
But there are people that have little teeny ranges. With a singer named Jane Siberry. She had a song called Calling All Angels with K.D. Lang a while back. And it was a trio. I played upright the whole tour. And I was amazed that she had that teeny range, but all of this music came out of that tiny range.
Yeah. Well, if you know your place, I was saying, same thing when I toured, when I did the Abbey Road tour with Ann Wilson. She never hit a bad note ever, and there was no tuning down. She's just remarkable. So I guess to be on topic, if you can, you should, and if you can't, you should know it. And I don't think it's even that Plant can't do it or Page can't do it. I think deep inside they believe they shouldn't do it, and that's a judgment call. That's
and you have to respect that.
I
because
absolutely
I'm sure
respect that.
People there that are dying to see them, and I'm sure there's plenty of people standing on the sides in the wings saying we could make lots of money doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why when you say like you get to the point where Paul McCartney doesn't need another dime in his bank account. Elton John does not need any more money. The people who own the songs, like the Eagles, who wrote all the songs that everybody, they don't need any more. They're still, so it's just, again, though, to Lenny's point, if the audience stops coming, I guess, it's time to just sort of, pack it in or take a break sometimes. That also happens with the trends of, what's old is new again. And I think, Steve and I were talking one night about how we just listened to so much music that I'm sure there's a lot that passed me by. And now I'll listen to a band like Ambrosia and I'll go, holy shit, those guys were good. But but at the time I would have been like, I'm not, I have nothing to hear about this. So into a whole nother genre of music at the time, or working in another genre of music. And that was just sort of almost elevator music that you'd hear on the radio in your car. And I listened to a couple of things, the Little River Band, those guys.
Yeah.
Damn, they were
a lot of great music.
I have an Ambrosia thing for you.
And Orleans too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
On that Abbey Road tour with Alan Parsons and Ann Wilson, David Pack came out. And we did whatever that's how much I feel for you, baby. And the guy was freaking incredible. And he's also a very, very good guitar player.
Oh, yeah.
But that was the only time that Entwistle left the stage. He said, there's no bass in this song. True story.
I hate
really no bass.
I'd have probably been just like.
I know. I count on it, my brother. I count on it. That's funny, man. That's funny. So, all right. So let's go around the horn with this one. If you could see somebody, please, the boy in the red hat.
No, remember Joe Castelli got that video, or maybe I found the video of the guy from Toto trying to sing. I think.
Oh,
Africa. What was
that?
Was that Bobby Kimball? Was that
Bobby Kimball? Yeah.
It was a real bad day.
That was a real bad day. I was like, what the heck are they doing?
That's one of those days Well, there's a what's his name, Enrique Iglesias tape that's as bad.
It was like Roseanne singing the national anthem.
Kind of close. Yeah.
But nobody was disappointed. Like we weren't expecting. And I'll tell you this, to the point, that's why these tribute bands, I mean, we have Double Vision. I've had all the guys from that band, and it's a Foreigner band. And the guy, they're incredible. They are incredible. And to be honest with you, I would rather, in that particular case, I would rather go see a band that authentically reproduces that without me thinking, is whoever going to be able to do it? Is it going to? And I think that's why the tribute bands or the heritage acts or whatever you want to call them, I think that's why they're so popular now, because, and Felix plays in the band Kashmir with those guys, and they do amazing. So
I mix those guys. They are really.
So, for me, I think that's why those bands are successful, because if you want to hear Led Zeppelin, or you even want to get close to what that was, that's the only way you're going to get to do it. Yeah. So,
sure.
And I have a lot more respect for those bands, like Kashmir, Double Vision, and, all these tribute bands than we did back in, when we were all coming up, and it was like, oh, you're in a tribute band, I mean, because you're not going to see Foreigner. You're not going to see Lou Gramm out there doing that. You're not going to see Bob, you're not going to see Steve Perry. It's just, and I don't particularly like the new singer for Journey. Not that the guy doesn't hit all the notes, but it's like, I'd rather go see the tribute band.
I know why you don't like it, because as a real musician, you want to see him bring what he brings to the notes, as opposed to just aping the notes that Steve Perry did. And that's really, he sings it exactly like Steve Perry.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to hear. I want to hear how we know that he can sing those notes. Now show us what you can do.
Yeah. And to that point, when I was doing the club circuit in Rat Race, I never ever, my mindset, whether it was Led Zeppelin, whether it was Tull, whether it was the Mahavishnu Orchestra, I was not trying to be Billy Cobham. It was like, this is my music, I'm in this band now, and this is what I would play tonight, no matter where I was. And everybody in the band did it that way. No, we made the things ours. And so I think if we were authentic to any degree, it's because we were true to probably what those guys would have been doing. I don't know, it was just my take on it. But now it's a completely different thing. You got to respect everybody.
Yeah.
I think about tribute bands. I think
that's Kim, by the way.
Hi, I'm Kim.
Yeah, hi, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
I'm also a singer and stuff, whatever. But Zeppelin, love Zeppelin and stuff. I had a tribute band called Led Zepp for a little while. But just speaking about tribute bands, I mean, I definitely respect them in a way that they actually, right, you're right. If these bands can't play out live, originally it's a way to see their music, but also it kind of keeps the music alive. It keeps their music alive when they're not able to perform or something, and it also is a good promotion for them as well when they're unable to tour for whatever reason. The other thing about I really like the tribute bands who more do it their own way. Like they don't have to seem like a clone or like dress up like whatever tribute they are. I respect it a lot more if they put their own, their own influence, their own feel into however they interpret it.
Yeah, that's true.
And still keeping with the main portions.
I'll say this though. Some tribute bands that I've seen just look freaking goofy. I'm sorry. They dress up, and like especially some of these like Van Halen tribute bands with the guys with the wigs, and it just the span. They just look like it's Halloween. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Like all the Beatle bands, all the.
I'm gonna kick my own ass if I saw myself doing that. I'm sorry.
And then, Will Lee and Jimmy Vivino's band, and it sweeps the floor with all those other bands.
And they just do their own thing.
But let's face it, it is Jimmy Vivino and Will Lee.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but they're picking it up. They're picking it up and taking it where it never got to go on its own. I believe I haven't seen the Fab Four, but I know what they do, and I think they're not trying to reproduce the 60s. They're trying to say this is what it would have been in the 80s or the 90s had it continued, and I think that's valid all day long.
That it would have eventually morphed into that or expanded into that makes sense actually. But Steve, we come from the land of cover bands, tribute bands in North Jersey. New Jersey, it's all tribute bands. So, and I feel like the reason that started is back in the day of Rat Race and all the bands that we talked about back in the day, everybody played a little bit of everything. And then what started getting was like, okay, now this is the progressive band, and here's the southern rock band, and here's the country rock band, and here's the glam band, and here's the heavy metal band. Then it started funneling down into here's the Neil Young tribute. Here's here's that. Then it started turning into like this Vegas kind of like Elvis thing, where the people were practically impersonating, like you said, in the costumes and with the whole thing. And it was just, again, because people wanted to see it and it was making money. But yeah, I feel like what you were saying is so true that it's kind of like,
I'll tell you a funny story. What's the name of Tony Kishman's band, Angus? Live and Let Die. And it's a McCartney, it's a Beatles thing. It's a McCartney thing. Yeah. And Tony actually looks like
he looks a lot like Paul McCartney.
And I had him on the show, and we all know Mitch Weissman did Beatlemania, but I had Tony on the show, and he told me a story that just made me laugh out loud. He said I forget where he was playing. It was probably Vegas or somewhere like that, and he was getting a ride to the airport with a guy who was an Elvis impersonator. And the guy who was the Elvis impersonator stayed in character the whole time. Somebody would carry his bag, say, "Thank you very much," and he was actually getting annoyed because Tony wasn't talking with a Liverpool accent. And it was one of the absolute most ironic and funny stories I've heard on the show. But it's some guys, I guess if you're going to live it, you should live it. But you don't eat the peanut butter and bananas because you're not Elvis, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know. It's a double-edged sword. If you're really good at doing something, if your band is really good at playing whatever, the Who or whatever it is, and that's why people are coming to see you, and you start to try to put your originals there, it's hard. You got to know when to get out as a cover band searching for your originality. That's what the Stones did. That's what they all did. They were all cover bands back in the day. It was American blues, and they found their sound, they found their path, and the only person we were talking, I forget who it was. But we were talking about the Stones, and whoever the guest was a huge Stone fans, and I forget who it was. That doesn't matter. I asked the question, if you could play one show with anybody living or dead, who would it be? And he said the Stones, and I said, the Stones with Brian Jones, the Stones with Mick Taylor, or the Stones with Ron Wood. And I think that's one of the very few bands that still feels original, day one, authentic to me.
Yeah, they sort of seamlessly went from one, they transitioned and they still stayed the Stones.
Yeah. But I think
that's because the Stones is really Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. As long as those two constants stay there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, I knew Steve was going to get the chair. I knew Steve Jordan was going to get the chair. I said it was either going to be him or Charlie Drayton, and I knew it was going to be Steve.
And Charlie's doing Bob. He's doing, what's his name? Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his name?
What's his name? You know, that dude.
And listen, you know what? I love our business. I love what we do. I love the fact that we do get to keep doing it. You know, and Fader, I'm waiting for my check. I heard that you pushed a reamper out the door, but you know, I'll call you after.
Here he is.
It's you know what? See, there's Tony.
Wow.
That's Tony.
Yeah, he looks really.
Not bad.
Wow.
Yeah, what about Hugo? That looks like
Right, Hugo, right.
He looks
Oh,
exactly
Hugo.
like Steve Perry.
Voyage.
He looks just like Steve Perry.
And
Does he
he's
sound
got a
like
beard.
you, doesn't he?
what?
So, in that case, man, I'm all for it. You know, I mean, I guess it's got to be a little different for Tony than it is for the. But listen, man, you know what? We're playing music. We're making a living playing music. That's the dream right there. So, you know, for me, how can I question anything? I love what I do, and I didn't start doing it for money. I didn't start doing it even for girls. I was too young. It was. I love to play, and as long as I can still make a contribution that's valid, you know, I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can. So, you know, that's showbiz.
That's right.
Yeah.
I see Angus has his pasture up.
Oh, yeah. 'Cause
Oh, okay.
I'm getting there.
I
I'm getting
changed
there.
something I have to show you what I would have had before that. Let's see, where is it?
Oh, Booker. Yeah.
That would have been the first one. That's Zamunda. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Now here's my pasture. Let's see.
Horse.
Oh.
It's a different one. Oh.
I do
Now-
have a new one.
Now, a question.
Yes.
Are those African elephants or Indian elephants?
I can
Those
tell by the shape of their
African.
ears. They're African.
That's African elephant.
Yeah.
Boom!
Right. We just saw a show about that.
We just saw that, yeah.
Indians have little ears.
Yeah, and the African elephants, their ears are actually shaped like the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
Oh.
They're also large and more aggressive.
Yeah,
Maybe they need
definitely
to-
bigger.
Yeah, they
they-
probably do need to be with the posters out there. Hey, listen, God bless them all. Oh, what? Wait a minute. What's going on with Kim there?
I don't know. What is he doing to me?
I was like, am I seeing some? Oh, it's gone now.
Oh,
Oh, that's
there we
nice.
go. Oh, what, look at Angus has the boat pasture.
Goat pasture.
Really, very nice.
Oh,
very,
wow.
very
Now
nice.
Fader's got the
You're in
smiley face
you're
back.
like in Monte Carlo for the Grand Prix, I guess, right?
Yeah, something like that. I thought I was down the street from Lenny's house.
Oh,
I
in
believe-
Antigua?
Oh, at Lenny's. Okay, oh, right, that's right down the street.
Yeah.
So
See, Lenny lives in the pasture, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So I got a gig next Thursday. The 11th, I'm playing with Corey. I'm playing with Corey Glover at the Bitter End.
All right.
Excellent.
When is the 11th? What is that? A Friday?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll pop in.
Okay.
Oh man,
Maybe I'll hop
yeah,
over
we
that
got a
bridge and
shot.
pop in.
Bring your earplugs, they're loud as hell. So
Should be.
I'm a sound guy. I don't go anywhere without my earplugs.
Yeah.
I go to church with earplugs.
You know, I used to do this routine because John, he played with the same rig no matter where we played. We could be in a listening room for 100 people, and the Madison Square Garden rig was there. So I used to say in the beginning of the show, ladies and gentlemen, we're selling earplugs up at the merchandise, you know, and right now they're $1. After the first song, they're $50. So I know something about volume, man.
Yeah.
But hey, listen. What? Anybody interested in hearing aids? I wonder if we can get a bulk discount, or we're all good.
No,
I've already got mine.
Ready for dinner.
You have yours, Lenny? You wear your hearing aids?
I've actually worn them for a pretty long time. Well, because when I moved down to Philadelphia, I was basically a sound guy.
Mhm.
But by that time, my hearing was kind of beat. So I had to wear hearing aids. And they had to be really small because I didn't want anybody to know.
Of course.
And I must have worn for about 10 years in the union. Nobody ever knew I was wearing them.
Well, I've probably told this story before, but back, it had to be 25 years ago. John was so freaking deaf that he bought two because he was not deaf and vain, doesn't go with old technology, right? But he's not going to get the thing that hangs over the back of his ears. He had these Starkey German. They were $3,000 a piece back then, and they had the little volume things on them, the little the potentiometer with a little X on it. And we're at the dinner table one time, and we're telling stories, and he can't hear us, and he's trying to turn them up, and he's doing this, and they're feeding back, and he can't hear. So know.
Wow.
I
know the feeling.
Always for the longest time wore earplugs, not because I was smart enough to protect my hearing. I just had really sensitive ears, and I was down at what did they used to call PNC? Oh, Garden State Arts Center. It was called at the time, and it was Crash Test Dummies and Primus was the opening, and we're doing sound check, and I have earplugs in. And I was doing monitors, and the guy from Primus comes over and he looks at me and he said, "You have earplugs in?" And I said, "Yeah, I know." He said to me, "But you have earplugs in." I said, "Yes, I understand. I have earplugs in. I can hear. I take them out. I put them back in." And he said to me, "But you're a sound person. How do you have earplugs in?" And I said, "Because this is what I have to make a living with." And he said to me, "Well, that's the most unprofessional thing I've ever seen." And I said to him, "Well, if I was a fucking astronomer, should I look at the sun until I go blind?"
Oh, wow.
I don't know where it came from, but the stage manager came up. He goes, "What's the problem?" He goes, "I don't know. She must be getting her period."
Really?
Fuck him.
Yeah.
But then I have to tell you, at the end, he was just like tweaked. He was like in that head, and it was pre-show. You try not to like fuck with people when they're in that getting their game faces on. And at the end of the show, he actually came up to me to apologize and said, "I'm really sorry. I was just kind of in a bad place at the time. And the monitors were great and everything." And I was like, "Yeah, I said, excuse me, I have to go get some Midol now." I just
here it is.
Yeah, hit him again.
Well, now let's talk about subtle, okay? Let's just talk about subtle, and this will be the last topic of the show. Lori doesn't like to, she produces the show. She doesn't like to walk out on me, and she doesn't like to go, dinner's ready. Is this subtle?
Sure.
Wow.
Oh my God.
That looks very nice.
That's amazing.
Wow.
French apple cake.
Yeah, and I've been smelling it for 20 minutes, and now
That
she
belongs
brings
in the
it in and hands
museum
it to me.
or in my stomach. So
Yeah, well, it's going to wind up in mine. So listen,
Lucky
guys.
boy. You guys
it's
have a great
always
one.
Blast. Love you all, and enjoy the weekend. Anybody who's gigging, let us know. We'll book her. We know you're at the bitter end on the 11th.
Yeah, I already wrote
And
it on
we'll post it, and hopefully some of our friends will come down and annoy you. Hey, I saw you on Steve's show.
Oh, and my mother did say hello back.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, that's great. Well, happy birthday, Mrs. King. She's amazing.
91.
Well, I was just down there, so yeah.
Very nice.
God bless.
Yeah.
Yep. God bless. All right, kids, I'm
Bye,
gone.
everyone.
Have a good
Peace
night.
out, Cub Scouts.
Goodbye, everybody.
Take care,
Goodbye,
kids. We'll see
Lori.
you soon.
No.
Bye, Lauren.
See you next week.
That was a great conversation.
Wow.
That
Yeah,
was fun.
Mousy, man. That was a great topic, and that was awesome. And that's what the Fridays are supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about the chatter that we would have. I can't stay in the pasture. It's making me nauseous.
The flowers behind you are blowing, but not the ones in front.
Because I can't. I haven't figured out how to do that yet. It's called a PNG, but whatever. Hey, you know what, man? I love doing this show. I'm glad that we're on all these platforms now. Because, I have people that say, well, we can't see. I'm not on I don't do Facebook. That's fine. Do you do YouTube? Do you do Twitch? Do you do, where else are we? LinkedIn? Twitter?
Right.
Who needs NBC? We do. All right, guys, enjoy it. Monday, we've got symbols and secrets and symbols of rock and roll with Brad and Colby Congress. We're doing, we did Blackbirds. We're doing Eagle.
Right.
The Eagle. So it's going to be interesting.
Not the Eagles.
No, not the
Eagle.
Eagles. Yeah. And we just had one in our yard the other day, and love me some Eagle. So join us for that. It'll be a fun show, and Angus will give us the lineup for the week. And as always, if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Enjoy it. See ya.